Hey everybody, Las Vegas Collectibles, good evening. I'm Jonathan. Fresh sleepy time tea, trying to get ready for bed and all that good stuff. But I got an email earlier today that I think you would find interesting in the collectible world. And it's something that has to deal with a previous video I made about eBay's authenticity guarantee when it first came out. And I was talking about how it came out at the $750 level. I believe it was 750. And I was talking about how that level is going to decrease. And I feel like that was last month, right? Like that was last month. And I was talking about how eBay is gearing up, in my opinion, right? How I look at how this company operates and what their potential next big goals would be. I was talking about how eBay would eventually partner with COMC, as they've already partnered with Blackstone, who owns CGC, basically the CCG group, which includes CSG and the authentic and the graders for magazines, the graders for comic books, coins, paper bills, posters, and like all kinds of stuff, right? They just grade all kinds of things. And they're like the prestige, the premier, they're the top shelf. And so eBay partnered with them to form this eBay authenticity, right? This new service that they're offering. And so they don't have a vaulting service included with that company, right? And eBay doesn't have its own vaulting service. I believe COMC is going to be something that they use as an eBay vaulting service that comes into the fold of the CGC, CSG, CCG group. Unless the CCG group creates their own vaulting service, which I think would ultimately be the end goal if they could. I don't know if it's easier for them to just merge with COMC. So they want to be the one-stop shop. So that way you can go on eBay, you can buy something. It's already authentic. You know, it's going to have that blue check mark, the white check mark with that blue circle. And so you know that it's already been verified to be authentic. Then if you want it to be graded, because it's already going over to CCG group for the authenticity, right? You can just give them an extra 30, 40, 50 bucks, whatever it might be, to then go ahead and grade it with a pre-screening, right? So they send you back, hey, we pre-screened it. It's most likely a 9.5, a 6.0, whatever it is. And then that way they get you to commit more money. Of course, they won't guarantee the grade that you get, but it's pre-screening, right? And like blah, blah, blah. And then they're saying, hey, look, instead of paying for shipping and all this stuff, you can just vault it with us and just keep it in our vault. And that way you can immediately post it back on eBay, right? So that way collectors and investors don't ever actually have to own any physical property, and they're literally just transacting physical items that are stored at COMC or CCG. So that's what I see in the future, right? And it's also just further normalizing NFTs, right? Trading digital collectibles. I mean, in the end, in 10 years, that's what we're talking about here, right? The whole premise of vaulting is so that way you own a collectible that you never actually own, right? Well, not that you don't actually own, that you never actually physically touch. It's not tangible, it's intangible. So it's an NFT, right? Basically. So they're just normalizing this concept of non-tangible collectibles, right? And I still believe that that's the 5 to 10 year plan. Specifically, just to clarify what I'm saying, eBay wants to be a one-stop shop where now that they're normalizing the authenticity guarantee, they're also going to start implementing, service add-ons where they can then grade the item, pre-screen the item, maybe even CCG, because CGC does signings, right? So let's say you buy a comic book on eBay, it's got the blue circle with the white check mark, so it's authenticated. You can get it sent to CGC for signature because they got some like George Perez is signing, or Chris Claremont, or some other notable comic book person happens to be signing at their headquarters in Sarasota or whatever the case may be. And so then you could get a signature series, and then they will send it over and it'll get vaulted in your digital vault, right? Where it's tangible in person in ComC's vault or eBay's vault, whatever the other vault is going to be. And then they will post images high resolution, so that way you can sell it on eBay, right? And then that's it, right? And then it goes on to the next person. So that's what I believe eBay is preparing the world for. And I was also talking about in that last video that it was going to quickly go down to 500. And I still believe that 250 is the mark. I can see it going down to 200, honestly, but I believe by the end of the year, this dollar amount will be $250. So that way, everything in the collectible trading card world that is $250 or more sold on eBay will have to go through the authenticity program, which is going to boost up added value, right, to CSG and CGC, because those are the grading card companies. At the same time, this is providing CGC graders the opportunity to authenticate Marvel trading cards. So this is the email that all eBay customers were sent. Look at this. You see this right here? That's Wolverine and Black Panther. So those are Marvel trading cards. CGC does not do those cards. CSG does not currently grade those cards. However, the authenticity program through eBay is requiring CGC and CSG to verify whether or not they're real, which is giving them the opportunity to be exposed to these cards, right? So that way they can verify whether or not it's authentic, and they're getting more and more exposure. So that way those card graders get more and more exposure. And yes, they're going to start grading Marvel trading cards. And I believe it'll fall under the umbrella of CGC, not CSG, because CSG is sports, CGC is non-sports. So yeah, so be aware that CGC will be grading Marvel cards by the end of the year. That's my prediction based off of this announcement. Again, this authenticity guarantee is just a stepping stone into their greater plan. We're talking about the biggest dog in the fight. eBay will just completely dominate the area. All these other grading companies that came up in the last 2 years, even the full AI ones, you know, that a lot of people have a lot of faith in. I don't think they're going to make it. Primary reason, it's just too much to compete with. eBay is going to set themselves up to be the one-stop shop for everything collectibles. And I fully believe that they understand the pain points of sellers and buyers, but primarily sellers, because I'm not the only one, because I've sent them emails about the percentages they charge to sellers, right? Not only the final value fee, but the percentages based off of every sale in each category, etc. The selling fees end up being about 30 to 45%. It's just ridiculous. It's low margin sales, right? And I'm talking about the everyday collectibles, not the high end, not the ones that demand authenticity and stuff like that. But the lower end items, there's extremely small margins and sellers are losing money. And I believe eBay knows that. So how do we cut costs, right? How do we keep sellers, make us be the one-stop shop for sellers? Okay, so we need to cut the costs. How do we cut the costs? Shipping is a big piece of that puzzle. If they can eliminate, because they don't control shipping labels, right? Like if you think about it, they worked out a discount with the United States Postal Service, with FedEx, with UPS, but they don't get all that money, right? I don't even know if they get any money for their printing, having that service where they get discounts for their sellers. It might be just truly a service to their sellers to be able to negotiate lower shipping labels, right? Cost wise. So that way, you know, I can ship a eBay standard envelope through eBay for 81 cents versus going to the postal service and paying 87 cents, right? Like it's not a dramatic difference, but they're making themselves more valuable to potential sellers, right? Like that's the whole thing. However, they understand sellers and buyers are paying that extra cost. So how do we eliminate that cost? That's the goal. Because if we can eliminate that cost, it'll reduce the prices more and make eBay even more desired for all collectible buying, right? Like if there was no shipping fees, so how do we eliminate the shipping fees? We start vaulting. What would motivate somebody to vault? You know, this whole situation is just, I see it clear as day. Will it ever happen? I have no idea, but I can see it clear as day. eBay, this authenticity guarantee is just one step closer. This authenticity guarantee getting pushed down to $500 is getting one step closer to them offering grading services through CGC and CSG. It's going to start happening. It really is. And we're only talking about trading cards right now, right? So they're just getting the pinky toe in the water here, right? They're not doing comic books. They're not doing movie posters. They're not doing dollar bills, historical paper money. They're not doing coins. They're not doing a lot of stuff yet. But sooner or later, that pinky toe is going to turn into all 10 toes with all their grading fees, right? It's gonna end up happening. So I'm just bringing this to your attention. The price went down, so now everything $500 or more is going to have to go through the authenticity in the collectibles world, specifically trading cards right now, but it will expand. This again is going to bring so much exposure to these items, right? Like all the graders who are authenticating that these things are real. It's like eBay is training CSG and CGC employees on these products. It's like eBay is training this other organization's employees for free. I'm sure it's not for free. I'm sure there's some kind of contract. Don't get me wrong. But how does that not blow everybody's mind? So all those CGC and CSG employees are going to be trained to recognize which cards are authentic. And that all those employees, that'll be like the entry-level job, right? Before you can be a grader, right? Before you can move over to here and be a grader of sports cards, of Marvel cards, Pokemon cards, whatever it is, you're going to have to go through 100 hours of authenticity for those types of cards. Or, you know what, like, hey, we got a 1994 Marvel's Masterpiece Spider-Man card here. We need somebody who's been authenticating these cards, specifically the 1994 Marvel Masterpiece, and they'll have a roster of employees who are the subject matter experts on those cards to be able to say whether or not it's a real card. And that's just that. I'm telling you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. eBay sells sealed products, sealed packs, sealed boxes, sealed cases. Once they start expanding this authenticity to modern day packs, and they don't have to do the 1989 Fleer tops, baseball, whatever. No, if they're smart, they'll just say all the new stuff. All the new stuff. We're starting from 2022, all the new stuff, because they can simply get sealed product from the actual distributors, not even just the distributors, from the manufacturers. They can call up, Nintendo Incorporated or what, Wizards of the Coast and Topps, and be like, hey, we want to be able to be subject matter experts in your product, so that way we can provide, authenticity to our customers, to your customers, so people can buy with confidence, make a value proposition to these companies. And then as we sell and buy packs and cases and boxes, We're going to educate the authenticity guarantee employees on which packs, boxes, and cases are real, because they'll have the real products to compare to the ones that we're selling, and they'll be able to say, yeah, that's exactly what that product is. And they don't have to, the biggest issue will be opening the door to criticism. If they start this authenticity guarantee for vintage wax, that's where they're going to get in trouble, because there's nobody that's going to be in their authenticity guarantee program who's going to recognize which, none of them have opened enough sealed cases, sealed boxes, and sealed packs to know if those packs are genuine, what to look for, what do they feel like, what do they smell like, were they printed in Belgium, were they printed in Japan, were they printed in America? They're not going to know the differences. So as long as they just start with 2022 product and they get stuff directly, as in comic books, it's called a case file. No, is it called a file copy? It's called a file copy. I believe that's what it's called. So when comic books are printed, right, the original batch, the first editions, and I believe they do this with every edition that comes out, right? Like if there's second printings, third printings of the same book, but they take the original book that was used to copy and print all of them. It's usually held on to by the creator, right? Like the creator gets the number one, basically, and everybody gets all the other ones. So if the authenticity guarantee people have their file copy of each sealed product, their master sealed product, anytime somebody sells it and has to go through the authenticity guarantee program, they have something to compare it to, right? They have the originals, the file copies. So that way, if they're having to authenticate it, they can directly compare it and be able to say yes or no. And no doesn't necessarily mean it's not authentic. It means it doesn't pass the test. It could still be authentic, but it could have been thrown in a washer and dryer or something. You never know. So anyways, I wanted to bring this up. I wanted to share this information with you. We all got this email. So if you're on eBay buying and selling, you might have gotten this too, but be aware, just like the last time when they first brought this out, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Yes, they're bringing it down to 500. The next step is 250. I believe they'll be there by the end of the year. By the end of the year, with prices going down, I don't know, maybe it'll get to $100. I don't know if it'll go that low. I'm still thinking 250 will be the lowest. And yeah, I'm pretty sure it'll be 250 will be the lowest. And after that, after they hit their floor, whatever it is going to be, which again, 250, they're going to then start offering grading services, and CGC will start offering grading services for Marvel trading cards, because their experience through the authenticity program will have risen to a point in which qualifies them, gives them some credibility in being able to grade those cards with confidence that they're not grading fakes, right? And so I think that's the evolution of this. And then again, at the end of the year, this is proof of concept, right? Because if this all works out, which I believe it will, they're going to start expanding this to comic books. I think comic books is the next step, because CGC does that. CGC and CSG are currently a part of the authenticity program. So it just makes sense that they'll just, okay, CGC, we're going to also do this with comic books valued over $1,000. And then we're going to do comic books valued over $750 and $500 and $200 or whatever it is. So, and then after that is a proof of concept. They'll open up more, right? They'll start doing coins. They'll start everything. And the whole time they're going to be working with somebody to start vaulting services. My bet is ComC. That's just my bet, but we'll see what happens. Other than that, I hope you have a great night. It's very interesting to think about. Yes, I am investing in Blackstone. I mean, how can you not? Partnered with the biggest name in collectibles, eBay. Take care, everybody.